Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene.
But pardon, gentles all, the flat unraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object.
For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass, for the which supply, admit me, chorus, to this history, who prologue-like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Well, they have their exits and their entrances. One man in his time plays many parts, his act being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and puking in his nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like furnace with woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. Then the soldier, full of strange oaths, and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big, manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history. Second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Good, my lord. Will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstract and the brief chronicles of the time. After your death, you were better to have a bed epitaph than their ill report while you live.
Pack up all my care and woe, here I go, singing low, bye, bye, blackbird, where somebody waits for me, sugar sweet, so is he. Bye, bye, blackbird. No one here can love or understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they all hand me. Make my bed and light the light. I'll arrive late tonight. Blackbird, bye, bye.
Where hast thou been, sister?
Killing swine.
Sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and mounched and mounched and mounched. Give me, quoth I. Aright thee, witch, the rump-fed Roinian cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master o' the tiger. But in a sieve I shall thither sill, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do.
I'll give thee a wind.
Thou art kind, and I another.
I myself have all the others, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know. With the shipman's card I'll drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live, a man forbid. Weary 7 nights, 9 times 9 shall he dwindle, peak and pine. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest tossed. Look what I have.
Show me.
Show me!
Here, I have a pilot's thumb. Racked as homeward he did come, a drum. Macbeth doth come. The weird sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, thrice and thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9.
Peace, the charms wound up.
Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge pig whined. Harper cries, 'Tis time, 'tis time. Double, double, boil and trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble. Double, double toil and trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble. Round about the cauldron go. In the poisoned entrails throw toad, that under cold stone days and nights has 31. Sweltered venom sleeping got. Boil thou first in the charmed pot.
Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf of the raven salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark. Liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and sips of ewes, slivered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab, and thereto a tiger's chaudron for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Fillet of a finny snake in the cauldron, boil and bake, eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's weaned, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth and bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
By the pricking on my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshalest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy bladed dungeon gouts of blood which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtain's sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel the wolf, whose howls his watch. Thus with stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm-set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk. For fear of the very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds, too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
Let fame, that all hunt after in their lives, live registered upon our brazen tombs, and then grace us in the disgrace of death.
Caesar must bleed for it. And, gentle friends, let's kill him boldly, but not wrathfully.
Let's carve him as a dish fit for the gods, not hew him as a carcass for the hounds.
And let our hearts, as subtle masters do, stir up their servants to an act of rage. We shall be called purgers, not murderers. And for Mark Antony, think not of him, for he can do no more than Caesar's arm when Caesar's head is off.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Liar!
Unite our country.
I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him.
Traitor!
We still have free speech.
Listen to him, listen.
No more lies!
Quiet.
The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often turned to bones. So let it be. The noble told you Caesar was ambitious. Well, if it was so, it was a grievous fault. And grievously hath Caesar answered it.
You should too.
Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man.
Are you?
So are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me.
He was no friend to the country.
But Brutus says he was ambitious. And Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious?
He wanted to end the Republic.
When the poor hath cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious. And Brutus is an honorable man. Now you all did see that on the Lupercal I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he thrice refused. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious. And sure, he is an honorable man. I not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him, O judgment? Thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason.
He was a great man. They assassinated him.
Stand up for him and you're next.
Good friends, sweet friends, let me not stir you up to such a sudden flood of mutiny. They that have done these deeds are honorable. What private griefs they have, alas, I know not, that made them do it. They are wise and honorable, and will, no doubt, with reason answer you. I come not, friends, to steal away your hearts. I am no orator, this is. But as you know me all, a plain, blunt man that love my friend, and that they know full well that gave me public leave to speak of him. For I have neither wit nor words, nor worth, action nor utterance, nor the power of speech to stir men's blood. I only speak right on. I tell you that which you yourselves do know. Show you sweet Caesar's wounds, poor, poor dumb mouths, and bid them speak for me. But were I Brutus, and Brutus Antony, there were an Antony would ruffle up your spirits and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar that should move the stones of Rome to rise and mutiny.
Justice!
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 Here-
Justice! Justice!
Here was a Caesar. When comes such another?
The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesses him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mighty. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above that sceptered sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show likest gods when mercy seasons justice. I have spoke thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea.
Break up the Senate to another time.
What dream, my lord? Tell me, and I'll requite it with sweet rehearsal of my morning's dream.
My mistress with a monster is in love. Near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals, that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus's nuptial day. The shallowest thick skin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sport, forsook his scene and entered in a break, when I did him at this advantage take. An ass's knoll I fixed on his head, anon his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes. When they him spy, as wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet pated choughs many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky, so at his sight, away his fellows fly, and at our stamp, here over and over one falls. He murder cries and help from Athens calls. Their sense thus weak, lost with their fears thus strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong. For briars and thorns at their apparel snatch, some sleeves, some hats, from yielders all things catch. I led them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there, when in that moment, so it came to pass, Titania waked, and straightway loved an ass.
An ass. An ass. Petruchio is such an ass. We don't want him here. Send him back where he belongs.
Oh, imagine that you see the wretched strangers, their babies at their backs, and their poor luggage plodding to the ports and coasts for transportation, and that you sit as kings in your desires, authority quite silenced by your brawl, and you in ruff of your opinions clothed.
But Petruchio has no family. He just wants to marry anyone he can find before ICE deports him. He's an illegal, a stranger.
You'll put down strangers, kill them, cut their throats, possesses their houses.
He's taking our jobs. He doesn't want to be like us. He's just trying to beat the system to get his green card. Lock him up.
What country, by the nature of your error, should give you harbor? What would you think to be thus used? This is the stranger's case, and this is your mountainish inhumanity.
Lock him up. Lock him up.
Good morrow, Kate, for that's your name, I hear.
Well, have you heard but something hard of hearing? They call me Katerina that do talk of me.
You lie. In faith, for you are called plain Kate, and bonny Kate, and sometimes Kate the cursed. But Kate, the prettiest Kate in Christendom, Kate of Kate Hall, my super dainty Kate, for dainties are all Kates, and therefore, Kate, take this of me, Kate of my consolation, hearing thy mildness praised in every town, thy virtue spoke of, and thy beauty spoken, yet not so deeply as to thee belongs, myself am moved to woo thee for my wife.
Moved. In good time. Let him that moved you hither remove you hence. I knew you at the first you were unmovable.
Why, what's unmovable?
A joined stool.
Thou hast hit it. Come sit on me.
Asses are made to bear, and so are you.
Women are made to bear, and so are you.
No such jade as you, if me you mean.
Alas, good Kate, I will not burden thee for knowing thee to be but young and light.
Too light for such a swain as you to catch, and yet as heavy as my weight should be.
Should buzz.
Well taken, and like a buzzard.
Oh, slow-winged turtle, shall a buzzard take thee?
I for a turtle, as he takes a buzzard.
Come, ye wasp, i' faith, you are too angry.
If I be waspish, best beware my sting.
My remedy is then to pluck it out.
Aye, if the fool could find it where it lies.
Who knows not what a wasp does where he sting? In his tail.
In his tongue.
Whose tongue?
Yours, if you talk of tails, and so farewell.
What, with my tongue in your tail? Nay, good Kate, come again. I am a gentleman.
That I'll try.
I swear I'll strike you if you cough again.
So may you lose your arms. If you strike me, you are no gentleman. And if no gentleman, why then no arms?
A herald, Kate. Oh, put me in thy books.
What is your crest? Coxcomb?
A combless cock, so Kate will be my hen.
No cock of mine. You crow too like a craven.
Nay, come, Kate, come. You must not look so sour.
It is my fashion when I see a crab.
Why, here is no crab, and therefore look not sour.
There is. There is.
Then show it me.
Had I a glass, I would.
What, you mean my face?
Well aimed of such a young one.
Now, by St. George, I'm too young for you.
Yet you are withered.
'Tis with cares.
I care not.
Nay, hear you, Kate. In sooth, you skate not so. Eh?
I chafe you. If I tarry, let me go.
No, not a whit. I find you passing gentle. 'Twas told me you were rough and coy and sullen, but now I find report a very liar. For thou art pleasant, gamesome, passing courteous, but slow in speech, gay, sweet, as springtime flowers. Thou canst not frown. Thou canst not look askance, nor bite the lip as angry wenches will, nor hast thou pleasure to be cross in talk, but thou with mildness entertainst thy wooers, with gentle confidence, soft and affable. Why does the world report that Kate doth limp? Oh, slanderous world, Kate, like the hazel twig, is straight and slender and as brown in hue as hazelnuts and sweeter than the kernels. Oh, let me see thee walk. Thou dost not halt.
O fool, and whom thou keepest command.
Did ever a Dian so become a grove as Kate, this chamber with her princely gait? Oh, be thou Kate, and let her be Kate, and let Kate be chaste and Dian sportful.
Where did you study all this goodly speech?
It is extempore from my mother wit.
A witty mother, witless else her son.
Am I not wise?
Yes. Keep you warm.
Mary, so I mean, sweet Katharina, in thy bed, and therefore setting all this chat aside, thus in plain terms, your father hath consented that you shall be my wife. Your dowry agreed on, and will you, kneel you, I will marry you. Now, Kate, I am a husband for your turn. For by this light, whereby I see thy beauty that doth make me like thee well, thou must be married to no man but me. For I and he am born to tame you, Kate, and bring you from a wild Kate to a Kate conformable as other household Kates. Here comes your father. Never make denial. I must and will have Katharina to my wife.
There he is. Lock him up.
Oh, too late.
I like to be in America, okay by being America, everything free in America, for a small fee in America. Here you are free and you have pride, long as you stay on your own side. Free to be anything you choose, free to wait tables and shine shoes. Life can be bright in America if you can fight in America. Life is all right in America if you're a white in America.
There I have another bad match. A bankrupt, a prodigal, who dare scarce show his head on the Rialto. A beggar that was used to come so smug upon the mart. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to call me usurer. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to lend money for a Christian courtesy. Let him look to his bond.
Why, I am sure if he forfeit, thou wilt not take his flesh. What's that good for?
To bait fish withal. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. He hath disgraced me and hindered me 500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, and cooled my friends, heeded mine enemies. And what's his reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what is his sufferance by Christian example? Why, revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute, and it shall go hard, but I will bear the instruction.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this sun of York. And all the clouds that lowered upon our house to the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barded steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass. I, that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph. I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated by feature, by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. What I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun, and to scant on my own deformity. Therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these farewell spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate the one against another. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says the G of Edward's heirs, the murderer shall be. Die thoughts, down to my soul, here Clarence comes.
And when the drums of war have reached a fever pitch, and the blood boils with hate, and the mind is closed, the leader will have no need in seizing the rights of the citizenry. Rather, the citizenry, infused with fear and blinded by patriotism, will offer up all of their rights unto the leader, and do it gladly so.
We fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place, and will not fail.
Speak the speech, I pray you. Suit the action to the word to the action.
All that glitters is not gold.
No legacy is so rich as honesty.
Convince, influence, explain. We are better than this. Our leaders must answer the call.
I'm Methodolic at his back, wherein he puts alms for oblivion, a great-sized monster of ingratitudes. Those scraps are good deeds past, which are devoured as fast as they are made, forgot as soon as done. Perseverance keeps honor bright. To have done is to hang quite out of fashion, like a rusty mail in monumental mockery. Take the instant way, for honor travels in a strait so narrow where one but goes abreast. Keep then the path, for emulation hath 1,000 sons that one by one pursue. If you give way, or hedge aside from the direct forthright, like to an entered tide, they all rush by and leave you hindmost, or like a gallant horse fallen in first rank, lie there for pavement to the abject rear, or run and trampled on. Then what they do in present, though less than yours in past, must o'ertop yours, for time is like a fashionable host that slightly shakes his parting guest by the hand, and with his arms outstretched as he would fly, grasps in the comer. The welcome ever smiles, and farewell goes out sighing. Let not virtue seek remuneration for the thing it was, for beauty, wit, high birth, vigor of bone, desert and service, love, friendship, charity, are subjects all to envious and calumniating time. One touch of nature makes the whole world kin. that all with one consent praise newborn gods, though they are all made and molded of things past, and give to dust that is a little guilt more laud than gilt or dusted. The present I praises the present object. Then marvel not that all the Greeks begin to worship Ajax, since things in motion sooner catch the eye than what not stirs. The cry went once on thee, and still it might, and yet it may again, if thou wouldst not entomb thyself alive and case thy reputation in thy tent, whose glorious deeds, but in these fields of late, made emulous missions mongst the gods themselves, and drave great Mars to faction.
Now entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp, through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds, that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their paly flames, each battle sees the other's umbered face.
If I mistake not, thou art Harry Monmouth?
Thou speakst as if I would deny my name.
Well, my name is Harry Percy.
Why then I see a very valiant rebel of the name. I'm the Prince of Wales, and think not, Percy, to share with me in glory any more. 2 stars keep not their motion in one sphere, nor can one England brook a double reign of Harry Percy and the Prince of Wales.
Nor shall it, Harry, for the hour is come to end the one of us, and would to God thy name in arms were now as great as mine.
I'll make it greater ere I part from thee, and all the budding honors on thy crest I'll crop and make a garland for my head.
I can no longer brook thy vanities.
Well said, Hal. To it, Hal. Now you shall find no boys' play, I can tell you.
Harry, thou hast robbed me of my youth. Oh, I better brook the lost bit of life than those proud titles thou hast won of me. They wound my thoughts worse than sword in my flesh. But the thoughts, the slave of time, and life's time's fool, and time, that takes survey of all the world, must have a stop. Oh, I could prophesy, but the earthly and cold hand of death lies on my tongue. No, Percy, thou art dust and food.
For worms, brave Percy. Fare thee well, great heart. Ill-weaved ambition, how much thou art strong. When that this body did contain a spirit, a kingdom for it was too small a bound. But now 2 paces of the vilest earth is room enough for this earth that bears thee dead, bears not alive so stout a gentleman. If thou wert sensible in courtesy, I should not make so dear a show of zeal. But let my favors hide thy mangled face. And even in thy behalf, I'll thank myself for doing these fair rites of tenderness. For adieu. And take thy praise with thee to heaven. Thy ignominy sleep with thee in the grave, but not remembered in thy epitaph.
To be or not to be, that's the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Right, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the presser's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have and fly to others that we know not of. Thus does conscience make cowards of us all. And thus the native hue of resolution is sickened over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard their courage turn awry and lose the name of action.
It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found that somebody who could make me feel true, could make me feel blue, and even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do, for nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you.
In these times, you stand on distance,
lest infection, being of catching nature, spread further.
So fearful were they of infection.
2 households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean.
How is it possible for Romeo and Juliet to meet, with both their families feuding and with COVID raging?
The course of true love never did run smooth.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo. Wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest upon my counsel?
By a name, I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls. For stony limits cannot hold love out, and what love can do that love dares attempt. Therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight, and but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate that hath prorogued wanting of thy love.
By whose direction foundst thou out this place?
By love, who first prompt me to admire. He lent me eyes, and he lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes.
Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet, if thou swearest, thou mayest prove false. At lovers' perjuries, they say Jove laughs.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest thou love prove likewise variable.
Well, what shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or, if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear love...
Oh, do not swear! Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet, good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove to be a beauteous flower when we next meet. Good night. Good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Oh, wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank, and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite.
Juliet!
Oh, I hear a noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little. I will come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I am afeard being a knight, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, by one, send me word tomorrow, by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite. And all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Madame!
I come, anon.
Madame!
1,000 times good night.
Oh, 1,000 times the worse to want thy light. Love goes towards love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love, towards school with heavy looks.
Hist, Romeo, hist, Romeo!
My dear,
At what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
at the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Well, let me stand here till thou remember it.
Oh, I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company.
And I'll still stay to have thee still forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, who lets it hop a little from her hand like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so lovingly jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I. Yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace, so sweet to rest.
What a piece of work is a man. How noble is reason. Infinite in faculty, in form, in moving, how express and admirable. In action, how like an angel. In the apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above thy fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
We will unite the white rose and the red. Smile heaven upon this fair conjunction that long have frowned upon their enmity. The brother blindly shed the brother's blood. The father rashly slaughtered his own son. The son compelled been butchered to the sire. All this divided York and Lancaster, divided in their dire division.
Oh, now let Richmond and Elizabeth, the true succeeders of each royal house, by God's fair ordinance, conjoin together.
Let their heirs, God, if they will be so, enrich the time to come with smooth-faced peace, with smiling plenty and fair prosperous days.
Now civil wounds are stopped. Peace lives again. That she may long live here, God say amen. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Our revels now are ended.
These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits.
And are melted into air, into thin air.
And like the baseless fabric of this vision,
Cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces,
The solemn temples,
The great globe itself,
Yea, all which it inherit.
shall dissolve.
And, like this insubstantial pageant, faded, leave not a rack behind.
We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep.
I'm Edward Giron on behalf of myself and Assistant Director Bonnie Lewis, co-producer Jerry Oshinsky, and Technical Director Richard Dugan. Thank you for watching, and we hope you've enjoyed the performance. Good night.
I'm Bonnie Lewis. Good night.
I'm Richard Dugan. Good night.
I'm Linda Molnar. Good night.
I'm Jefferson Reed. Good night.
I'm Jerry Oshinsky, no middle initial. Good night.
I'm Stuart Ornstein. Good night.
I'm Deborah Helm. Good night.
I'm Deborah Bertling. Good night.
I'm Joshua Jenkins. Good night.
I'm Ming Holden. Good night.
I'm Kathy Martin. Good night.
I'm Mindy Toronto. Good night.